this first guest is someone I've wanted to have on the show for so long. There isn't any bigger legend and greater, more admired person in our great sport of mixed martial arts. We are talking about a man who was a judo world champion, a man who was in the very first mixed martial arts fight in 1963. Students of his include Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, among others, and I'm just so glad to say that we actually have the man himself, Judo Gene LeBell. Welcome to the show, Gene.
Well, thank you, Colin. Now, after interviewing me, you're going to have to go out and get a real job.
I appreciate it, Gene. I'm so glad to be doing this, but yes, that is a possibility. Well, how's everything going, my friend? It's so good to talk to you.
If it was any better, I'd be too rich to talk to you.
I love it. I love it. Well, glad that you're not quite there and that you're here with me. So let me ask you. There's so many things that you're involved in, having been one of the most successful and hardworking stuntmen, actor, businessman, promoter, involved in so many things. But I know one thing that's really important to you right now is that you are the honorary chairman of a group called Strong Sports Gym, and this is over in downtown Los Angeles. It's providing boxing, wrestling, and all kinds of other great combat sports training for underprivileged youth. And I know that there's stick fighting, submission fighting, MMA, women's curriculum, and everything like that. And so I know that's something that's really important to you, and I wanted to be able to shout out that people that want to help this cause, that Mr. Gene LeBell is also very, very involved in as an honorary chairman and really cares deeply about. People that want to help that for donations or sponsorships, they can be made through the website, which is strongsportsgym.com, and I think that's a great situation over there, helping the youth, isn't it, Gene?
Well, you know something, Colin, the reason it is, in my opinion, you get kids that have nothing to do. Mm-hmm. They go out and steal hubcaps, they put graffiti, they screw around with other people's cars.
Yep.
They're bored.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to a school, may it be a martial arts school or tennis or baseball or football camp, they're off the street and they're programmed and nursed into the proper thing. Do for other people as you'd want them to do for you, which is good.
Yep.
Now, to me, this school is near downtown Los Angeles, and there's a lot of underprivileged people that do go there, and they take real good care of them. And if they didn't go there, they'd be on the street causing trouble, and the ones that aren't on the street would be in jail.
Yes.
So I'm really behind that, and so if anybody wants to, if they have trouble, go down to that school or give a donation to help people, or if they have some kind of a gift that'll make people happy, make it. We make that place a family place.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
And we got kids, fathers, grandfathers. They all go for the workout: boxing, wrestling, MMA, and they got some of the best teachers around.
That's really important, and women can train there as well, and so that sounds like a really good situation. And you know, basically anybody that either wants to donate or wants to participate, go check that out at strongsportsgym.com. Really a great situation going there, and Gene LeBell has been known to be involved only with situations that are really giving back to the community, and that's what this is. So really glad to hear you're involved in something great like that. But let's not forget that your main gym, where you can be seen when you're there, but have been involved with for many years, is the Hayastan MMA Academy, which is Gokor Chavicyan's school in North Hollywood, right? That's the main place, and has been for several years for you, isn't it?
That's Mikasa, and you come on down. Mikasa is Tsukasa.
Mm-hmm.
They have boxing there. Gokar is as good a teacher as there is in the country, and I've been there for about 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me. I never got a penny out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I help people out, and they got good training in North Hollywood. If somebody wants to come by, I'm there only Mondays.
Okay.
I'm trying to cut down, and I'm only there from 6 to 8, but a lot of people want to get a book on martial arts or finishing holds, and people come from all over the world to take pictures and all that stuff. And it's a nice location. It's a nice in Burbank. It's near Burbank. It's North Hollywood, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Hayastan, which means Armenian.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great school, and come on by and take a visit and mention Gene LeBell and take a free workout. Also, I think the best karate guy of all times teaches there Monday nights. And you know who he is.
Yep, our guest from a few weeks ago, legendary Sensei Benny the Jet Urquidez.
Benny the Jet, he walks on water. He's so good.
Yep.
And he's getting an award, an MMA award. You can tell what that is in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
He's the martial artist of the year.
Yes.
But he's an older gentleman, and he can still tie his shoes.
It's a good thing.
Good.
Absolutely. And you guys can do a lot more than that. Absolutely amazing how working out and taking care of yourself and training hard is really, really important. And so, I would say that basically having you, Gokar Chavicyan, and Benny the Jet Urquidez is absolutely amazing in the same school. So you guys don't want to miss out a chance to get over there. And that's Hayastan MMA Academy in North Hollywood. You can look it up and get down there. And really good people, great training too. And with the combination of the striking and the grappling, if you're talking about being an MMA fighter, really one of the great places that you could go. I remember I met you when it was in Hollywood about 20 years ago, Gene, and I went down with some buddies, a lot the younger version of me, and one of my buddies was so excited to see you there. He kept on saying, "Gene, I'm telling you, I know you can make me a champion. This is great. I'm going to go here. I'm going to train with all these guys here, and I bet I can probably be the best guy. I can probably maybe beat half the guys here, and I'll be a champion. Don't you think, or what do you think?" And then you looked at him and you said, "Your two buddies here will be a champion. You'll be a contender."
Okay.
We love that, though. That was perfect for him because he was kind of a big mouth. But so basically we've been aware of the Hayastan school for a while.
Well, you might say that Ronda Rousey started there, and she was undefeated as long as she worked out there. We started her off, Gokar, and she made a name for herself, and to me, she was the best in her prime of all times, but now she does a lot of movies and having fun, and that's what life's all about.
Yep, it is.
Got to make the money.
Yep.
And live a good life.
It's true. And back in the early days when she was winning, I know you didn't necessarily want to point that out, but for the listeners, in the days when Ronda was winning easily, that's when she was training at Hayastan with Gene and Gokor. And so they have a great accomplishment with Ronda, who was unbeatable back under their tutelage, and just the grappling skills are legendary. I mean, you go so far back, Gene. So many people know you and know your credentials and your story, but you actually were an AAU world judo champion, I think, in '54, right?
54 and 55.
2 years running, right? And then you were also, as your mom owned the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, one of the greatest venues for boxing many years ago.
Boxing and wrestling,
right?
And
yep.
roller derby and circus, and
yep.
and they had basketball there, and a lot of different shows, but mostly boxing.
Right.
That was known for.
Yep. And so you were learning boxing during a similar time period when you were doing your judo and grappling, and then you started learning catch wrestling from Carl Gotch, right?
He was a classic in his field and a legend in his own time. A lot of people never heard of that name, but this guy opened my eyes, and it helped me in judo, because in judo you do an ogoshi or a nuchimata or haragoshi. Mm-hmm. It's all a form of a whizzer, which is a hip throw.
Right.
And he showed me how you do it, where you can break a guy's arm or a leg on the way down. Mm-hmm. And you're not allowed to do that in judo or wrestling, so Greco-Roman or freestyle. So, you get the best teachers you can, and you learn what you can, and see what works for you.
Right.
Now, most of the people that join a martial arts school, they learn forms, katas, what they call them.
Yep.
I call it kata cheese, because
right.
A lot of people think, well, that's for you learn this and you could kill somebody.
Yeah.
It's
not quite true, huh?
No, but it's good for the movies.
Right.
And so you gotta really spar to get good, and it's not easy. It's like if you want to learn to go around a track real fast in a car, you can't just look at it.
Right.
You have to slide the corners and spend hours and hours and days and weeks and months and years learning learning how to do things. There's no shortcut. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yep.
Like people say, well, I hit this bag in a punching bag, and boy, it goes all over the place. But it's not hitting a moving object.
Right.
Grabbing focus gloves, that's great to hit the focus gloves, and you warm your arms up. But the focus gloves, the little gloves that go on each hat,
yeah,
and you hit your trainer's focus gloves or gloves, but it's not hitting a moving object. So sparring, to me, if people don't like it, they can go get a life.
Yeah.
But you'll never see a champion that didn't spar.
Right.
Like Benny sparred with different champion boxers, and so did Boss Rutan.
Yep.
And a lot of the good wrestlers worked out with top people in their group. Mm-hmm. And it goes on. Hard work. That's it. There's no shortcuts. No free lunches.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like I remember a great documentary after Bruce Lee died. Do you remember that documentary they put together called The Warrior Within?
Who put that on?
I forget, but it talked to a lot of karate guys. It really didn't have... You know what? It had one jiu-jitsu guy, Master Moses Powell. I don't know if you remember him, an African-American master, but it talked to a lot of guys on the East Coast. I remember it was really cool. They used to air it after karate or kung fu movies, and then John Saxon would come on doing his segment called Masters of the Martial Arts. You remember that, when they'd have John Saxon do about 10 or 15 minutes after kung fu or karate movies? That's going way back.
Well, John Saxon was a student of mine in judo.
I didn't know that.
Worked with me. His real name is Carmen.
Right.
And loved that man. And Bruce Lee's daughter did a documentary which was very good. Mm-hmm. And they're interviewing all the greats in martial arts, and they were interviewing me, and I've always had a monocle of the Godfather of grappling.
Absolutely.
And so they says, well, what do you think of Bruce Lee, the Godfather of grappling, or words to that effect? And I says, well, if he's the Godfather of grappling, I'm the great-grandfather of grappling. And I thought they'd cut it out, but if you see the video, it's still in there.
Good.
It's a laugh.
I like that. And
Bruce was a great athlete. He worked out with me for a long time. A wonderful person, and so was his son.
Yeah.
Brandon.
God bless him.
He worked out a little bit, yeah.
And did you ever have a chance to train with Brandon at all? You must have, maybe when he was...
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I worked a movie with Brandon, and I says, as a stuntman, and I fake it as an actor because I'm a stuntman, but not really an actor. I play villains for the last 60 years. I'm just retiring now. I said, shit, I'm old.
It's a good long career, though. A lot of good actors.
Yeah, but with Brandon, I says, he's got to beat me at the end. And I says, well, do some fancy kicks and stuff, because I'm a tumbler, and I'll make you look like $1 million. And he said, no, in the street, in the script, it says he's got to go in the closet and get a Gatling gun and shoot the villains. And I says, boring, but it's his show.
Right.
So he does it his way, and I get residuals.
I like it. That's the best way.
So, but Brandon, a good guy.
Yeah, God bless him. God bless them both. Bruce was 32 when he passed, and Brandon was 28. And too bad they couldn't have been with us longer. But both really amazing guys and
amazing athletes, and they were both very good at gung fu. But the thing I liked about Bruce, working with us, he wanted to learn other things besides gung fu.
Right.
And a lot of the gung fu guys didn't like him because he'd do wrestling with me and judo with me, and
he was getting a lot of flack by the traditional karate and kung fu and martial arts.
I don't give a darn.
Yep.
You notice I said darn?
Yep.
In my waning years, I'm trying to correct my English.
Right.
It's politically correct.
Right. But
go ahead. He got good at wrestling, but he was known for the fancy kicks.
Right.
And he said, well, we're going to Hong Kong, and you work with the movie with me, Chuck Norris go. And Chuck Norris is, great guy.
Yep.
And very, 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 very good at what he does.
Definitely.
And I said, well, I can't go because I'm working around here in these westerns and all that, and I'm making serious money. He says, but you'll make $200 a week. And I said, I make 5-6 times that in Hollywood. And, you get residuals. Well, when they went to Hong Kong, and they came back, and it was a good movie, but it was done out of the country, so it wasn't Screen Actors Guild, which means no residuals. Now, I get 6 figures in residuals every year, and that's very important. It keeps me in new cars and motorcycles.
Absolutely important. But had they been willing to pay more, you could have been part of Enter the Dragon. But
I would not be interested.
No, it wasn't going to be your film.
Well, it's a non-union thing. You understand?
Oh, that's right.
I'm a union man, and if you don't like it, get a life.
I like it.
In other words, union in 1960, the Screen Actors still started getting residuals.
Right.
So I do a movie like Raging Bull or something like that, and then it keeps on giving you. You start off making a big residual down to the, small, so you get paid again.
Sure.
And I know you're not interested in that, but nowadays, if somebody works non-union, I tell them, don't come near me.
Yeah.
I'm a union man.
Yeah.
How's that for being opinionated?
It's good. It's being honest. And in reality, for people that don't know the entertainment industry, the union does so much more for you. The pay is better. The protection is better. And if you're found doing non-union work, you lose your union card and you possibly never work again for the rest of your life.
Right on.
Yep.
You're not only good looking, but you're smart.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Or the old saying, they say, I'm not as dumb as I look.
Well, you're good looking. I'm comparing you with me. Otherwise, you might be so ugly you go beer hunting with a switch.
I love it. It could be. It could be.
But I get a retirement. I can still work. I get a damn good retirement for being in the Screen Actors Guild and after for so long.
Yep.
And I got lifetime medical.
Very important.
You know, and my wife keeps on saying, well, the doctors aren't that good. They want me to she wants me to get one that'll take care of my brain, and she says, you're so far gone, they can't find a doctor that good.
I love it. I love it. We got to leave it to
my
her.
wife's just giving me all sorts of that Canadian talk.
Yep.
I don't speak Canadian, so I don't understand what she's saying.
I love it. You might be better, right?
She's got a mean look on her face.
Yep, the old evil eye, or I tell my girl, the old stink eye. You know, no fun. Well, speaking of unions, you were not only in the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, but for stunts, you were in the very respected Stunts Unlimited union, weren't you?
Not would I still am.
And you still are.
There's
right?
a lot of different groups, and they're all very good. Brand X, Stuntmen's Association, the Women's Association. In fact, one of the Women's Association, USA, I'm an honorary member in that.
Right.
But
Excellent.
the Stunts Unlimited, they have 50 people in it, and they run more shows. When I say run more shows, they're the ones that hire you for jobs than all the other groups put together.
Oh, wow.
And the other groups, there's a lot of different groups, minority groups, but Stunts Unlimited is not only because I belong to it, but I could work as much as I want.
Yeah.
But now I don't want to work anymore. I want to retire, and because I'm an old man, I want to just go out and race motorcycles and make myself comfortable.
I love it. You deserve it. You were probably one of the hardest working stuntmen in the whole industry, and so you put in your time, and I know you can. If there's a gig that's right for you, jump back into it, and and if not, that's okay too. Hey, I want to ask you a quick question, and the question is: a lot of people are saying, what does Gene LeBell feel about kids that are wanting to get into MMA is the right thing for them to do? So let me ask you this quick question. The question that several fans wanted me to ask you is, it used to be up until maybe about 5-6 years ago that everyone had their own special skill that they were prolific at. Like some guy would be a national wrestling champion, or in the Olympics, or a medalist, or a qualifier, or a judo champion, or a kickboxing champion, or a jiu-jitsu champion. And then they would start learning the other martial arts to complement the fact that they were already really proficient in one. Now they're saying right when a kid's 6 years old or 7, like you were when you started learning various arts, or 10 or 15 years old, that they should just start learning all of them at once. I really want to get your opinion, but everyone is going to have to wait for that opinion, because we're going to be back with the answer from Mr. Judo Gene LeBell after these brief messages.
ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
Hi, my name is David Fimbras with Boulevard Moving. We're a 5-star moving company here in Southern California with offices in Arizona and Nevada. We cover local, long-distance moving and your full storage needs.
Why choose Boulevard Moving? Well, that's simple. We offer 5-star ratings in local directories, information and guidance throughout the process, certified moving consultants, expert packers, and movers. 24/7 availability for moving and packing services. Highly recommended among the area's most prestigious realtors and estate managers. Our mission is to deliver superior customer service and to provide the highest level of quality workmanship for the physical movement of goods. We strive to maintain a level of communication that eliminates the stress and inherent concern people have when hiring a moving service, be it residential or commercial. Call us today at 844-274-0500 or visit www.boulevardmoving.com.
And welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. So glad you guys are still with us. We are continuing with our great interview with the legendary Judo Gene LeBell. And we asked a question when we went on break. Want to make sure Gene's still with us. You still there, Gene?
No, I went back to bed.
Ah, darn. Well, we'll talk to you in your sleep. So here was the question. Up until a few years ago, everyone in mixed martial arts was already proficient in one thing or another, whether it was a guy that was a national judo champion or in the Olympics or a wrestling champion or a jiu-jitsu champion, and they would bring that skill that they were really accomplished in and then start learning some of the other skills. Now they're starting to tell the kids, well, you go when you're 10 years old or 7 years old or 15, and you just try to go to a gym that has all of the different things, and maybe you're not going to be a world champion in judo, and maybe you're not going to be an all-American wrestler, and you may not be a kickboxing champion, but you'll learn all of the skill sets at the same time. What's your feeling? What would you recommend someone do out of those two options? Mastering one skill set first and then adding the others, or immediately having the kids start learning all of them at once?
Well, here's the whole thing, the way I feel about it. Do everything you can and see what works for you. You'll have a favorite, may it be boxing or Shotokan or Kempo. You learn everything. And some of the things you'll never be a champion in, others you might be a champion in. And it's very important in MMA to learn every combat.
Right, all the skill sets.
Not forms or katas.
Right.
But I highly recommend go for your enjoyment, not to be a champion. Because a lot of people aren't athletic enough to be an all-American football player or a wrestler or a basketball player. You do what you got to do. The whole thing in life, Colin, is to have fun. Because I understand that you're alive for 60 or 70 years if you're lucky, and you're dead for 2 or 3 million. I'm not sure about the time.
Right.
So whatever gives you pleasure, do it.
Yeah. It's that old saying, right? If you love what you do, then you don't work a day in your life, right?
Absolutely. In stunts, I liked stunts. I loved stunts. So I never went to work.
I love it.
Because always creating something that was spectacular, and it's on film forever.
Absolutely. And we're seeing great pictures of you on the screen, working with Sylvester Stallone, with Chuck Norris, with Elvis Presley, so many people. Do you have any memories of some of these great celebrities that are no longer with us, Bruce and Elvis Presley, Superman George Reeves, that you'd like to share?
Well, George Reeves was a great man. I used to go over to his house a few times a week, and he put some mats down there, and he liked to wrestle, and he liked to do judo, and he boxed a bit, and he was a great guy, and got me a job when they went on public appearances. I played Mr. Kryptonite with a black outfit. I was the villain.
Right, we see that picture. Yep.
He liked me because I took good falls. And I'd come and pick up the woman star, Lois Lane, and Noel Neal was her name, and run off with her. And he'd come over with his kryptonite stick and have more power than me and beat me up.
Right.
And made me a lot of money.
That's good.
Great guy. I got, a lot of people that are in a position to help you, and they don't even remember your name.
Right.
I don't have words to emphasize what a good human being he was and how he helped a lot of minorities. He was in Gone with the Wind, and he played one of the brothers in that. And he played the guitar and the bass fiddle, and he sang, and a lot of people didn't know that. They all think that he was Superman, but he didn't like wearing that outfit too much, but that's neither here nor there.
Interesting, but the one good thing is you're here to testify that he really was a pretty tough guy. Some people say, well, he didn't look like the bodybuilders of today, but the bottom line is he was a pretty rugged, tough individual who did.
He
practice.
was strong, physically strong, because he exercised, and he was a darn good athlete.
Good one.
And they can't knock somebody that's a good athlete and is good to you, and you don't see people like that anymore.
Yep.
Everybody seems to be worried only about themselves.
Right, not looking out for the other guy, especially in the entertainment business, huh?
Any business.
Yeah.
And you don't trust them. When I was working and I was through with the show, I had this Mr. Kryptonite outfit, and you probably have a picture of it. That
we do.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, okay. I loaned the outfit up to a man, and he was going to show it off and bring it back. He didn't bring it back, and now it's his and it's not mine. And being not a good person myself, I say in my waning years, I don't loan anything out. If I want to give it away, like money, I give it away.
Right.
I don't loan money.
Right.
For example, my banker doesn't give wrestling lessons, and I don't loan money.
I like that.
And so anyway, that Kryptonite outfit is worth a lot of money now.
I bet.
And I talked to one guy who says, well, we could sell it to you for $100,000.
Oh, man.
And I just loaned it out. Well,
yeah.
So for you thousands of people that are listening, get a second opinion. Don't trust anybody.
Yeah, it makes sense.
How's that for a bad attitude?
Well, but you know what? It's good to give someone that advice, especially when they're just going out on their own when they're 18 or 21 years old. Sadly enough, you loan something out, you may not get it back, and that's reality. It's better to know that than to be shocked if it happens. So that's a shame. But let me ask you, Gene. The masses know you and know your story, but not every younger person does, and some people have an idea. But let me remind a lot of people that before the first MMA fight in the United States, which was UFC #1 in 1993, 30 years earlier, we had a mixed martial arts fight with Gene LeBell and Milo Savage, who was a top boxer who had a grappling background and was training in grappling. And to give you a chance to go into it, I want to give a little bit of it up front, the front story, and let you finish it. But it was an interesting scenario where a columnist was trying to put down judo and karate guys, and did an article calling them judo karate bums. Am I right, Gene?
That's true.
And this guy was saying that he, as a guy who had a little bit of experience as a boxer, but minimal, could beat any judo karate bum, and put out a challenge. And so they got everyone talking, and when the martial arts community finally came through with Gene LeBell, they said, great, we'll take it, and now you're fighting a top 5 world boxing contender. So they kind of tried to pull the old bait and switch on Gene LeBell, and brought in Milo Savage, a top boxer, big, strong guy. And then they had him train for a couple full months when they found out Gene was coming in judo. And it was a slightly modified rules, but very similar to today's mixed martial arts match. And that match included some boxing, a lot of judo and throwing. And I think, around the second round or the third round? What round was it? Fourth round. And you got and put a choke, which the jiu-jitsu calls a rear naked choke. But what do you call that again before the rear naked choke?
Well, let me get a little technical here.
Yes.
You know how they got the name rear naked choke?
Tell us. No.
Okay. A lot of people don't. Everybody says, I invented this, I invented that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started off rear naked choke, and here it was.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a gi on, a uniform that you do jiu-jitsu with or judo,
yep,
that's a gi.
Yep.
If you wrestle without a gi, it's a naked choke.
Right.
So I started off years ago say rear naked because I didn't use a gi. And this whole, if you look at the rerun of it, you can see I could have choked them with a naked, but I wrapped it around and I put him to sleep for about 20 minutes because the referee didn't know how to revive him.
Oh, wow.
But the guy was a great, great, great fighter. And I was a mediocre fighter. If I went and did boxing with him, he'd have knocked me into the nickel seats.
Right.
And so if you notice the fight, I didn't trade punches with him.
Yep.
If I can't play my own game, he'd have beat me.
Yeah.
And that's why you need a good coach.
Yeah.
You find out a person's weakness and you go after it.
Absolutely.
Like I say, a boxer doesn't box a wrestler or wrestle a wrestler, and a wrestler doesn't wrestle a boxer.
Right. You got to do your own thing. Yeah. You
got to do what you're strong at.
Yep.
Because the other guy might be just a little bit better boxer.
Yep.
Milo was a head and shoulders better boxer than I ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
And so I saw him fight once at the Allegiant Auditorium in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the main event. He goes in the ring, 10-round fight.
Mm-hmm.
First round, he hits the guy between the horns, knocks him out.
Oh, wow.
The referee starts to count. 1, 2, 3. And Milo walked out of the ring, through the ropes, and to the dressing room. And when the referee turned around to raise his hand, he was gone.
I love it.
And I says, he knew that the other guy wasn't going to get up.
Yeah, they call it the walk
and
away.
And he trained with Gene Fulmer.
Oh, yeah, very tough world champion.
And I met Gene, and he said Milo didn't get the fights he should have because he was a minority. And he said he used to beat me up in the gym.
Oh, wow.
And there was the same thing in Utah. And he said he was his main sparring partner, Gene Fulmer said.
Wow, because Gene Fulmer was a great champion. Gene Fulmer and his brother Don Fulmer, I think, Don, I think, may not have been a world champion, but very tough. But Gene Fulmer was tough, and for him to say Milo Savage would be beating him up, that's a lot to say. No, he was a tough guy. Did you think, here's another question first that I don't know if anyone's ever asked you. Back in those days when you had that Fulmer fight, your mom, who was the promoter of the Olympics, she was still around for that fight, right?
Oh, yeah. Fulmer beat Sugar Ray Robinson once, then Robinson beat him.
Right.
You know.
But how about for the Milo Savage fight? Was your mom still around at that point, or was she gone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was, and...
what did she think? I don't know if anyone's asked you. What did your mom think when you said you're going to fight Milo Savage in kind of a mixed rules fight? What did your mom think?
She said, "What the hell are you doing?"
So she wasn't quite sure about it. Did she try to discourage you at all, or she just thought it was crazy?
She didn't give a damn.
All right, I think
she had confidence in me. She saw me one year win the Nationals, and I had 18 matches, and had to win them all to become a overall judo champion. So she had confidence, and might have been wrong, but if this guy ever hit me, he'd knocked me into the nickel seats.
Right.
He hit me in the belt, and I had a judo belt on, brand new belt, and he broke it in half, and that's on film.
Wow, that's crazy.
He hit it so hard, and I used these belts to tow my cars and my motorcycles.
Wow.
And they're you could do it 1,000 times, it wouldn't break, but he broke it.
That's a hard body punch. That's a very hard body punch. Let me ask you, no one had any thought back then about mixed martial arts being 30 years before the Brazilians brought the UFC over with Art Davie and like that. But did you have any thought either during or after that fight that doing kind of a mixed fight thing again would be interesting? Like if they put you against a wrestler or another judo guy against a karate guy. Did you ever think of that, or was you just didn't have any thought about that because the public wasn't ready for it?
Well, it isn't that the public isn't ready for it. I was making a good living doing the stunts.
Right.
And I had to, not only do the stunts, but you have to train at high falls, fire burns,
right,
motorcycle jumps,
right,
horses, cars, and on the off days you train at that.
Right.
And I'd go to the dojos as much as I could, and there's a lot of politics.
Yeah.
In the martial arts,
especially
and there's some schools that aren't. Now, your friend Adam's from Holland.
Background is one of my senior producers. Background from Holland, yeah.
Well, he's a good man because I know a bunch of Dutch people.
Yep.
And one of the guys I like in Holland, named John Blooming. He was a great, great, great judo man, great karate man, and he has this organization. He gave me 10th degree in it, which is, it's not as good as $5 cash.
Right.
It covers the wall and makes it look like you're important, like you got food in the icebox or something. And I have a great deal of respect for the people from Holland, especially John Blooming's group.
Right.
Because he does karate and grappling.
Right. And Bas Rutten being more of a contemporary Dutchman from that group, right?
Man, you got to interview this guy.
Yeah.
I've been to 2 World Fairs and an all-night gas station. I never seen a guy that is good as he was as a heavyweight when he was in his prime.
He really was.
Boss, he is. Well, the reason I like him, he's mentally sick.
Right.
And so am I.
Right.
So
birds of a feather, you two, I think, huh?
And the birds of the feather stick together. My wife is, she's a Canadian. What can I tell you?
Yep.
She doesn't understand us.
Right.
Sensible people.
Yep.
But Boss is a good guy, and occasionally I judge these tournaments, and he comes sits next to me with his wife and everything. He's a good guy, and he knows the territory,
Yeah, he really does. This mixed martial arts is such a passion for him, and he loves it. He's got his finger or thumb on the pulse of it, and so yeah, we'd love to have him on and talk to him. We're going to see if we can arrange that soon and have Boss in. Let me ask you a memory, because we just saw a picture flash on the screen of you and Chuck Norris, who was your student for many years and actually became a very good grappler, didn't he?
Oh yeah, they did a roast on me, and he was one of the roasters, one of 10 roasters, and he's the only one that didn't knock me, and it was boring. He said all sorts of nice things. You have to see the roast. I think it's on the internet somewhere. But as a wrestler, he was good because he was a natural athlete, and he still is.
Yes.
And he prefers what he's good at, the kicking and the scratching and the biting, karate. And but as a human being, the guy is very, very, very classy.
Yeah. Yeah, really good
and
man.
When I get rich like him, I'm not even going to talk to you.
No, I had a feeling. Well, hopefully we can keep you staying not quite that rich, because we really we don't want to miss out on that. But yeah, we like Chuck Norris. He's definitely an amazing guy, and in the early years he didn't really get nearly as much respect after Bruce Lee, and they were saying, well, he's a karate guy, and then he's doing these action movies, and he can't act, and this and that, and all that BS. And I think over the last 15 years or so, he's finally getting a lot of the respect he deserves, because he is a true martial artist, isn't he?
Bruce was very, very good. Very good.
Right.
I think Chuck was better.
Oh, wow. That's
and I think Chuck was better.
Right.
I know he was better.
Yeah.
And that isn't putting it down, Bruce.
No.
I think Benny Urquidez, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And you're lucky enough to get him. I don't know. You must be somebody very important because getting a guy like Benny who's the best of the best, I mean, really good.
Yeah.
But Bruce was not only a great martial artist, but a good salesman. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
And I thought Chuck became a good actor because he did that show in Texas for so many years.
Yeah. Well, did you ever do stunts or act on that Walker Texas Ranger?
Yeah, I did. I did one or two.
Did you like it? Good atmosphere there?
Yeah, I think I played a villain on the show.
Nice.
Just somebody that gets beat up or something, and where I can laugh all the way to the bank. But,
exactly. Speaking of that, sorry to interrupt you, Gene. Relay the story with Elvis. I know there's a really good story where you worked with Elvis on Blue Hawaii, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you were showing Elvis how to do throws because he was going to throw you, right?
Yeah. Well, I was working with Elvis, and Elvis was a great guy, as you know. He gave Cadillacs away and $100 bills, and he fed the government for a long time with taxes.
Sure.
And when I worked the show, I was a lot younger. You might have a picture of Elvis
Yes.
and me
We do.
on Blue Hawaii.
Yeah, we do.
And when we were over, he was so happy, he gave me a $100 bill.
Wow.
Now, that was a time when I was young, and I paid $45 a month for rent.
Wow.
And
It was like giving you $5,000 or $3,000 or something.
a lot more.
Yeah.
Now, I went out that night. I had a filet mignon with a salad, fresh fruit that you could cut with a fork.
Beautiful.
And it cost me $6. I says, I don't care. I'm rich.
I love it. I love it.
Now, if I had a brain, which I should have talked to the Wizard of Oz, maybe he could have given me a brain. I could have collected, I could have saved that $100 bill that he autographed, and it'd be worth $100,000 or $200,000 now.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. If we all knew the stuff that how much collectibles would be worth, I think back then people just didn't know.
And then then we move on to Jimmy Kimmel. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes, absolutely. Jimmy Kimmel's big. You did a sketch and an appearance on that show, didn't you, a short while ago?
Yeah. You told me that it got nearly 4 million people that watched
Yes,
it.
on YouTube. Yep. And what was it
They
called?
didn't have anything better to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go there and I say, hey, I told him the Elvis story, so he gives me a $100 bill and signs it to my wife.
Right.
And so every time I talk to him, I still have the $100 bill. I say, how do you feel? I'm not feeling too good, Gene. I don't know. And I says, well, feel sick, man.
Yeah.
I need the money.
Exactly. And just for those...
But he's a very talented guy, a nice guy.
Yeah, I believe it, and it's cool that he gave what Elvis gave to Gene, the $100 bill, and Kimmel signed it. So this is just in case Kimmel goes, then Gene can redeem the signature with Kimmel that he didn't get with Elvis. I love that. Hey, Gene, let me ask you something here, because a lot of people are wanting to know, with mixed martial arts, the way it started out after you did the Milo Savage fight, when it came to the United States with the Gracies and Art Davie, and they started out having only 2 rules: no eye gouging and no fish hooking. Can you let people know what that fish hooking meant? That was only one of the 2 rules in the early UFC fights.
Fish hooking is 2 things. Primarily, if you put your finger or your thumb in the guy's mouth and fish hook it and put it to the side, he's in trouble. Or you fish hook his eye and take his eye out.
Right.
Now, in a street fight, people say, well, how do I defend myself? Like, a woman's not as strong as a man.
Right.
She's got to be able to fish hook an eye and take it out, because she's not going to match a woman that's 130 pounds can't match strength with a man that's 200 pounds.
Right.
So you go like you're going to hug him.
Yep.
Take an eye out.
Yep.
And if they're brown, you eat them. But
Right.
it's very important. Don't eat the blue eyes, because they'll get you sick.
I love that. And that would be for the real life self-defense thing. But in the UFC, the fish hooking, there was no putting the fingers in the mouth. What did you think of those early limited rules, Gene, compared to today, when it was bare knuckles and you could hit someone in the groin, you could headbutt them? Was that a sport that you enjoyed a lot and that should be around today, or is it much better with the rule changes that we have now?
The rule changes are magnificent.
Yeah.
Some I don't agree with.
Right.
But the head of the California Athletic Commission, Andy Foster, is the best athletic commissioner ever. Andy Foster.
I've heard good things.
And he makes sure what the rules are, and you got to do safety as much as you can.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
The only one that can help you in the ring is the referee.
Yeah.
And he's got to know the rules to, if a guy's in trouble to stop the fight.
Yeah.
And the rules, a lot of the rules they changed some are okayed in California.
Right.
And some are, like in Vegas,
right.
You can't do this particular rule.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't up to me. I don't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
I used to referee and judge in Vegas. I don't do it. Haven't for years. I just judge around here, and I enjoy it. I see a lot of old boxing coaches and the old judo and wrestling coaches and a couple of guys that do movie work. So it's all home week.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. It's got to be, because you were the last man to referee a Muhammad Ali fight, weren't you?
I don't know for sure, because all the guys that used to referee those Muhammad Ali fights, they died of old age.
Right.
And, I'm just a baby. I'm only 85.
Right. You might be there we go. You might be the last man.
I look a lot older, but I take Botox.
Nice. The Botox.
Botox, is that what it is?
That's it. That's fabulous.
And
that's how you look so young.
My wife says I look like warmed over death.
But
she's a Canadian. What does she know?
Exactly. But I think, you may be the last living guy that refereed an Ali fight. Speaking of which,
it's very possible that I am.
Yep.
And Muhammad Ali, he fought for us at the Olympic.
Right.
And he was one of the, to me, he was the best heavyweight boxing champ ever.
Yeah, that says a lot, too.
Because when he was young, he didn't get hit.
Right.
And he did the rope-a-dope and all that stuff, and great, but a nice guy, too.
Was he?
Very, very nice guy.
That's good to know. God bless him. Yeah, he was amazing. I remember when George Foreman said, when he fought Ali, George Foreman was speaking, and he said, I got involved in that Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope, and I played the dope.
Hey, George Foreman.
Yeah, what do you think?
He threw me out of the ring on, some TV show.
Oh, really? That's right. I think I remember that. Wasn't that like the $6 Million Man or something like that?
Could have been the $6 billion man.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
And he has that Foreman
grill.
Yep. Do you think that son of a gun would invite me for lunch so I could see if the Foreman grill really cooks that good?
Right.
No, he's a cheap son of a gun.
That's terrible. Yeah, he's wanting to keep that to himself.
Nice guy, very polite, and that's it. It's more one quality that I don't have. I mean, he was polite.
Right. Well, you're a good guy, as you know. You're a humble man, too modest. Let me ask you, Gene, what do you think about this weight cutting? We had an instance where on the UFC 213, Amanda Nunes didn't make this the weight cut, and it's so tough. And if they're really feeling sick and unhealthy, then you really don't blame them for not making it. But what is it with the kids wanting to walk around at 180 and fight at 155, or the girls walking around at 150 and want to fight at 135? Is that something, that's always been going on with wrestling. Is that something we're always going to see? Can that be stopped? Is it good? Is it bad? What's your thought on that?
Well, I'm very opinionated on it. A lot of guys that fight at my school, they got to learn the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
They got 20 pounds to lose in 1 week, and you become weak.
Yeah.
You have to go down slowly.
Yeah.
And to me, losing that much weight is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It makes you weak. But if you have short arms, you don't want to fight at 180 if you can fight at 145.
Right.
The training, you just got to lose it well ahead of time. I think the young lady started too late to lose the weight, and what I understand is my best friend and doctor, Jack Ditlove's his name, he said she got so down in weight that it created a breathing problem.
Right, or
okay?
sinus. Yeah, she came out and said it a big sinus, huge sinus infection.
Well, yeah, and she had a breathing problem. And so she'll fight this other gal eventually, and they're both good fighters, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
But you got to take care of your health.
Yeah.
The only initial investment you have in life, Colin, is your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to take care of it.
It's very true. My late father and grandfather used to say, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, pretty much, huh?
That's true. I went to a funeral a few days ago, and a bunch of the old stuntmen were there because one of the stuntmen passed away, and all these guys, every one of them was limping, you know. And I'm trying to walk straight like I have no limp, and all that, and. You know, their initial investment is the body, from riding, bucking horses and bulls,
right,
and getting their legs crushed. And if you do it yourself, you put your initial investment up, and you find a guy that's fought for many years, and he'll always have an elbow, a shoulder, a hip, or a neck, or some injury. And so you got to know when to fold them and when to hold them.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, you know, a question that a fan just shot at me is back on the MMA fighting. What do you think about the fighting in the octagon or the cage as opposed to fighting in the ring for an MMA fight?
Well, it depends who you are.
Yeah.
Very much. Now, as a judge, I like the ring, and the reason for that, if you look at the octagon, which is 8 screens, and they have about a 12-inch pad, and you sit down and they're on the mat, but they're in a blind spot.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And you look around, and I have to stand up and lean forward. And so, I mean, I prefer the boxing ring. Although when I was first involved, it was a 3-rope, and now they have 5 and 6 ropes.
Right.
To keep the person. You got a better view.
Yeah.
Especially the people behind you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it makes sense. And for a grappler, I think the ring is better. I think for a striker, it might be the cage, because then they can lean against it and try to stick their feet in part of the crease so that it's harder to take them down. That's one of the frustrating things, I think, for people that are big fans of freestyle wrestling and even Greco, is you're having to peel these strikers off the fence, and they're leaning into it. And I think that doesn't make it run as true a fight as it could, like in the ring back with Pride Fighting Championship and like that. Did you watch those fights from Japan back 10, 15 years ago? Pride Fighting.
Oh, yeah, I used to watch them. I'd watch anything. I'm cheap. Anything I could watch free.
I love it.
To make a comment on your last thing.
Yeah, please.
A wrestler or a boxer can use the octagon, the screen, to lean against.
Right.
And that's a third arm, you understand?
Right.
But if he puts his foot in, the referee has the right to kick your foot out. If you grab the
fence,
the ring with your fingers, that could be a penalty point where they could take a point away in your. In other words, take a point away, and that'll hurt you real bad in the scoring system.
Right.
So, but I like it that they can't get away. You know?
Right, and right in there. What do you think about the way that Pride used to give you a yellow card, and that means you would lose 10 or 20% of your purse? Some people are saying that would make some of these guys quit stalling and quit trying to lean on the fence and like that. What would you think if that was implemented, good or bad?
It's not my call, Colin. See, the people, they don't give a damn.
Right.
The grapplers.
Yep.
If you don't make the weight in MMA, you can fight anyway if your opponent wants you to fight.
Right, and
but
you
if you're 3 or 4 or 5 pounds over, they get 20% of your purse.
Right.
And, I've talked to the different fighters, men and women. They don't give a damn.
Right, right.
They really don't.
Rather than to die trying to get the last couple of pounds off, yeah. But what do you think about giving up your purse if you're stalling during the fight? They were doing that in Pride, where they'd give you a warning, and if you were still stalling or running too much in the fight, they'd be able to take away some of your purse. Do you think that would be anything that could make the fights more exciting, or do you think someone losing some of their purse by their strategy being too defensive it might be going overboard? Any opinion on that?
It's up to the referee, in my opinion. You could do what you want.
Right.
It's their call. I'm not a promoter.
Right.
But you get a guy like John McCarthy.
Yes.
Or Mike Beltran,
right,
who's a referee with a long mustache.
Yes, fabulous.
And they both do movie work also. But
yep.
If the fight's boring and they don't move, they say, get some action going.
Right.
Or they're tangled up on the ground and nothing's happening.
Right.
They'll say, stand up or get some action. You're boring.
Right. They give the warning, kind of like a warning.
A warning, and that sort of wakes them up.
Yeah.
Because once you're in the ring, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You're not paying attention. You're just trying to survive.
That makes sense. That's something a lot of people don't think about. And Frank Trigg, a friend of yours, is becoming a good referee, isn't he? He's been on the show before. He's one of
He has?
Yep. Yeah, he's
Twinkle Toes.
Yep, Twinkle Toes Trigg. He's a great referee.
Great fighter, ex-fighter.
Yep.
He's doing a lot of movie work lately, and I've been on 4 or 5 shows that he's refereed, and he's going to be one of the ones because he can move around and he knows the difference between right and wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think the MMA refs are doing a pretty good job? They have such a hard job. So many people are angry at them because they're stopping the fight too soon or stopping the fight too late. As someone that's refereed fights, the referee's a really hard job, isn't it, to be an MMA ref? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry
I can't hear you.
No problem, Gene. So what do you think about the people criticizing the refs for stopping the fight too soon or too late? Is that unavoidable, or should refs be able to be on target all the time?
Herb Dean, who's one of the premier referees, he's great. Like John McCarthy's great. Yep. Mike Beltran's great. There's a couple of guys, and Twinkle Toes is very good. People get criticized with the referee when they break the fight up, but they're not hovering over and they say, this guy's eyes are crossed, he's screwed up, you better save his life. He's the only one in there that can save a fighter. You get one extra hit after the guy's hurt, you might have a permanent injury or a death.
Yeah.
And there has been deaths in the MMA, and it's mostly because they fought a little bit too long.
Yeah, the referee wasn't there to stop it. So way better to be stopping a fight too soon than too late, huh?
They always come back another day.
Yeah.
But I've seen guys that get the tar knocked out of them and got knocked out, and the guy kept on punching, and the referee let him go another 7 seconds and just taking a beating, and they come up with migraine and headaches. And I grew up in the boxing business, and this is very important to me. There's a lot of people that they have speech impediment from fighting too long, and their elevator doesn't go to the top. And my wife's giving me a bad look. She says, that's how you ordinarily talk.
That's great.
They're punchy, punch-drunk. There's fancy medical names for it.
Yeah.
But they fought too long, and you know a lot of fighters that have fought too long, and
we want to try to prevent
the referee to me is very, very important. And a lot of the referees that are a little bit, I say, green, they don't know the territory. For example, if they have somebody that's not really qualified, say they just did karate,
right?
They don't know if a wrestler's going to break a guy's arm or leg.
Right.
If the guy's a referee that's just a grappler, he doesn't know if how bad a guy got hurt. Boxing, that's why you got to do a little bit of everything.
Right. The referee has to pretty much be a mixed martial artist himself, doesn't he?
He really does.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And that's why you were ideal to be refereeing the various fights you did, and the people that you mentioned are doing just such a great job with the John McCarthy and the Mike Beltran and Herb Dean. And it's a hard job, and they really have to be there to protect the fighters for their safety. It is so important. And the guys and girls are out there risking so much. So you're right about that. And it's good to hear from you, because a lot of people are mad. They think it was stopped too soon or ruined the fight, this and that.
What do they know? They're fans.
Exactly.
That's a sore point with me.
Yeah,
they're fans. Yep. They want to go see a bullfight. They want to see somebody's life ruined. And I know so many that have brain injuries.
Yep.
And I'm very much against to get as much safety as you can.
Yep. And that's important. That's important to hear that from you, because a lot of people really respect you, and I think a lot of our fans that are leaning toward feeling like all these fights are stopped too soon need to realize that it's about the fighter's safety, and that's so important. And you hear it right here from the legend himself, Judo Gene LeBell. Well, Gene, I'm so glad you came on, man. I know you have another obligation, and we have so much more we can talk about. But what we're going to do is see if we can connect with you later this summer for part 2 of this great interview, because I really have enjoyed having you on here, my friend.
Well, if you enjoyed having me on, your standards aren't too high.
I gotta say that the fighting legend, one of the toughest guys in the world with one of the best senses of humor and one of the nicest guys out there is Mr. Judo Gene LeBell, and I'm really glad to know you. I'm so honored and privileged that you came on, Gene.
All right, you're the man there, Colin.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, we'll look forward to connecting with your assistant later in the summer to get you on for part 2. Can't wait till that happens.
It goes for me.
Sounds good. Thanks so much again, Gene. Great talking to you.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.